G'day, Chiefs. Welcome to the Internet Chief podcast and this special episode on how to build a high performance team. Let me start with one of my favorite quotes. It's by Edwards Deming, one of the masters and founders of all process excellence. He's like the man behind original total quality management, the Toyota way, the early days of that. He was a real student of the cycle of growth, the cycle of automation. And Edwards Deming said, if you can't describe what you're doing as a process, you don't know what you're doing. I certainly found this when I was promoted to my first ever leadership roles, immediately promoted and just did not have a playbook. I didn't know what move to make first, how to make sense of the chaos of the team, how to unite the team, how to create the culture. I had no framework to follow at all. This is what we really focus on at Chief Maker. We try and help people make their leadership repeatable. We unite their intuitive abilities with a framework and a process they can follow and repeat. But the framework is also one that has a level of freedom in it, so they can make it their own and really bring it to life in a way that suits them. Our high performance teams framework is something I work on with boards, executive teams. It's the core process in our mini MBA. If you want to know more about that, go to chiefmaker.com/mini MBA, where we work through each of these elements in detail. So, Chiefs, what is our framework? And I'll talk through it at a very high level. The 5 main pillars of a high performance team are mission, people, culture, tools, and execution. Mission is clarity around the purpose and the vision and the strategy and the roles and where we are going. If we don't know where we're going, why we're going there, the strategy to get there, who's doing what, it just creates chaos. Harvard did a review or a research project where they interviewed 100,000 executives and they asked them 3 questions. Do you know the vision of the company? Do you know the strategy of your company? And do you know your role? Now, the results were actually, I think, potentially better than I thought. 30% of executives knew the vision of the company, where it was going. 40% knew the strategy and 30% knew their role. Now, the study goes on to say that if this was a soccer team, only 3 players would know what direction they were running. Only 4 players would know how they're going to move the ball up the field and put it in the back of the net. And only 3 players would know what position they were playing. So that is absolutely core of all high performance teams. We have to know where we're going, why we're going there, how we're going to get there, because that is the core of all high performance. The second pillar is people. As Jim Collins would say, get the right people on the bus, the right people in the right seats, and the wrong people off the bus. Forming that team of individuals, the key people, managing that talent and creating the team that will build the business for you is so critically important. In fact, even though this is our second pillar, it's the one we always look at first. Because if we have the wrong team on the bus, we can't even decide where we're going, why we're going there, and the strategy. So we have to get our people clear. The third pillar is culture. This is about a united team constantly improving. It's aspirational. There's a level of accountability in that group. Feedback is just happening all the time, right? And we're not allowing low performers to drag the team. In fact, we're doing the opposite. We're creating such a great environment that everyone is getting better all the time. No one sits still. That is a fantastic culture. Our fourth pillar is tools. And this is the scoreboards, the policies and procedures, the software, the hardware to perform their role with excellence. Does your team have that? The data, the scoreboards, the metrics that they can make decisions, data-driven decisions every day, the policies and procedures, the systems, the software, the hardware, and easy access to it. And the final pillar is execution. Now, this is your governance of the execution of the strategy. So it's what's the tactical plan? Who's doing what? How are you going to manage that with an operating rhythm and a drumbeat to keep focused? How do you communicate with all stakeholders? How do you manage risk? And all great teams, make no bones about it, Chief, all great teams execute and get a track record of success. Okay, the execution of the mission. In some ways, the way to think about it is that these are the two end pillars. The people, culture, and tools are in the middle. They make it all happen. But the mission decides where you're going and why you're going there. And the execution is making it happen on a week-to-week or month-to-month kind of basis. Now, as you look at this framework, it is really handy to work out or consider what happens when you miss a particular piece. As I said before, if you take away the mission, it just creates confusion. And that confusion will then often lead to internal competition. It will lead to a lot of wasted effort, a lot of wasted capital. And in the end, no one will get a track record. The culture will suffer as well. And your good people, they will just leave. What if we have the wrong people on the bus? What if we've got C players? What if we've got toxic kind of personalities? First and foremost, this is stressful for you, right? B and C players only attract other B and C players. They don't attract A players. In fact, A players are repelled by these people. So you need to make sure you have a group of A players at least. Form the team that will build the company for you. Get the right people on the bus, get the wrong people off. The wrong people, culture will be terrible, mission will get confused, and execution will stall. They'll always be like, I don't have enough time for this. I'm too busy. We've got change fatigue. No. The good team, the good people, they don't get change fatigue. They want more. They want to get better. And I know it's hard to attract the right people, but this, Chief, is the core role of senior executives. Get good at talent management. Get good at recruiting. Get really good at interviewing, developing people within your team. It's such a core part of your role, and too many of us battle with this. That's why it's a major part of our mini MBA. Then culture. You might have a clear mission and good people, but if you're not creating a culture where they can succeed, where they have an aspiration, where there's feedback between each other, where it's actually fun to come to work, but challenging. If you're not cultivating the language, the rituals, the traditions that make all that happen, then unfortunately, you're going to miss a massive opportunity. All these wonderful people ready to go. And we miss the culture, the team spirit. This is where people want to go and give something extra above and beyond because they want to serve their teammates. They want to be a valued member of the team. So we have to work on that. We have to really focus on it. That fourth element, tools. If people don't have the scoreboards, they don't have the data to do their jobs, it just gets really difficult, becomes a grind, right? They don't have the right kind of decision-making process as a result. So getting the right tools in place is important because without it, this is when you start getting teammates or people in the business going, this is hard. There's too much red tape. The systems are crap. They really just start to lose focus and hope. And last, of course, is execution. When we don't execute, all the other elements, it's just the greatest waste. It's such a missed opportunity. But don't get me wrong, you can have great people. You can have a good mission. You can have a good culture. But if you don't have the right drumbeat, the right rhythm, the right governance to make sure that track record is built and accountability over time is held, that each individual that's got a key part of this strategy has the support, has the reporting of you and the broader business, then execution will fail and the dream will just float away. So Chiefs, each of these elements support each other. It's integrated. It's like a little system that works together. Each one lifts the other. Your job as a leader is to create that high performance teams framework. So you can ask yourself in your head, how clear is our mission? Do I have the right people? Is our culture good? Have we got the right tools and are we executing? That will give you an indication of where to focus next. Chiefs, if you want to know more about this, if you want to understand about our Chief Maker MiniMBA, well, we cover this in depth. Go to chiefmaker.com/MiniMBA. Righto, Chiefs, I hope this helps you build that high performance teams at work. As always, remember to stay